Arsenal are on course to win their first title in 19 years, but standing in their way is Pep Guardiola's Man City, a team full of experienced winners. The Gunners need to be at their best, and today we have some massive news on the potential return of Gabriel Jesus. We'll also discuss the confidence surrounding Declan Rice, find out what Bundesliga midfielder Arsenal are targeting, and who is the Premier League team trying to sign Kieran Tierney. Yo, what is going on, guys? My name is Babs14. Welcome back to your boys channel, and I know you guys are still doing amazing after the last minute scenes at the Emirates Stadium on the weekend. But all eyes turn to the future, so as per, smash a like on the video if you enjoy, subscribe to the channel if you are new, and help your boy on his road to 200,000 subscribers. It is sensational. But let's start off with the latest Arsenal news. Arsenal have a centre back who at 21 years of age has taken over the Premier League. His name is William Saliba, and he has been a revelation. His numbers this season do all the talking. First in terms of possession won in the defensive third, fourth in terms of passes completed, third in terms of forward passes, and seventh in terms of overall touches. To do all of that in your first year in the Premier League at just 21, Arsenal have something special. And as Mikel Arteta says on Saliba, he's really funny. He doesn't even want to be funny. He has an aura and presence. Then he is very focused and determined to become a top player. Saliba is a physical machine, and standing at 6'4", he has an insane amount of recovery pace. He has allowed Arsenal to play a higher line than ever, exert more dominance, and sustain pressure like you wouldn't believe it. Arsenal are trying to renew his contract, and here you can see a recent Instagram story of his agent posting himself outside the Emirates Stadium. As Fabrizio Romano confirms, negotiations continue between Arsenal and William Saliba over a new contract. It is the next priority for the club after the Saka deal is almost done. Fabrizio understands Saliba wants to stay. Talks are ongoing on details, salary, structure of the deal, and it is not at the final stages. Saliba wants to stay at the Emirates Stadium, and that is the most important part. Let's not forget that at the start of the season, Arsenal fans weren't sure if he was going to have a long-term future at the Emirates Stadium. No one quite knew what Mikel Arteta's plan was, but now we're seeing him shine in the Arsenal shirt. We are seeing him celebrate goals like a proper Arsenal fan. It means so much more. You can see the smile on his face and the way he plays. This guy is loving life at the Emirates Stadium. And after securing the future of Gabriel Martinelli and soon Bukayo Saka, make no mistake, Saliba is next, and it's only a matter of time. But what about Arsenal's match winner at the weekend, Reiss Nelson, who is out of contract at the end of the season? And according to James Bench, both Brighton and Nice are among those who are monitoring the availability of Reiss Nelson, who finds himself at a crossroads at Arsenal. His impact at the weekend was undeniable. To smash the ball in on the 97th minute on your weakened left foot, the clean ball striking was sensational, and it sent the Emirates into scenes. With 3 goals and 2 assists, Reiss Nelson has provided the most goal contributions as a sub in the Premier League this season. Title-winning teams need super subs and surprise heroes, and on Saturday it was Reiss Nelson, averaging a goal contribution every 17 minutes. He is slowly becoming Arsenal's super sub. According to Samuel Mockbell, Arsenal are in talks with Saturday's hero Reiss Nelson over a new contract. Positivity from all sides that a deal can be agreed. Nelson's current deal is expiring, but Arsenal believe he is keen to stay. Reiss Nelson is Arsenal through and through. He has come through the academy, and he's always made it abundantly clear he wants to remain at the Emirates Stadium, and Fabrizio Romano confirms that Reiss Nelson has not changed his mind. His priority is to stay and continue at Arsenal. Negotiations are ongoing over a new deal. Clubs around Europe appreciate him, but Nelson wants to stay. Now, some Arsenal fans may see this as impulsive. They won't believe Nelson deserves a brand new contract. But looking into the profile of Nelson, I can totally understand Arsenal's plan. This guy can be more than just a super sub. He is still only 23 years of age, has a long time for development, and Arsenal are a team now that are consistently playing up against deep blocks. As we saw against Bournemouth at the weekend, Nelson excels in that environment. In those tight spaces, this guy is aggressive. He's a fantastic ball carrier, and in the final third, he can be decisive. In many ways, Reiss Nelson is the forgotten Arsenal star boy. He broke through at Arsenal at 17 years of age, and he was meant to be the next best thing. He thrived on loan at Hoffenheim, and even last year in the Eredivisie, he became a starter for Feyenoord. The only concern about Nelson is his injuries. If he can stay fit, Mikel Arteta is elite at coaching wide forwards. We have seen the work that he's done with Bukayo Saka and Gabriel Martinelli. Reiss Nelson has all of the fundamentals and the mentality to learn, and on the left hand side he gives Arsenal a different profile. Gabriel Martinelli and Trossard are more inside forwards. Nelson is far more of a pure wide forward, and he still has a lot of room for development. Let me know your thoughts down below in the comments, and do you believe Reiss Nelson deserves a brand new Arsenal contract? Moving on to the future of Albert Sambi Lokonga and Nuno Tavares. As according to Gary Jacobs, Arsenal are likely to offload both Tavares and Lokonga in the summer. In the case of Nuno Tavares, he's had a very hit and miss spell at Marseille. With 6 goals, he's been decent going forwards, but that is playing as a wing back, and defensively, there's not been that much of improvement. And as pointed out here, Tavares is driving the Marseille fans nuts at the moment, going through one of those periods where he can't put one foot in front of the other. Stray passes, woeful decision making and lazy defending. He's quick, powerful and more or less two-footed, but a seriously infuriating player. It sounds very similar to what Arsenal fans saw last season. Physically he has all the potential and technically likewise as well. This guy is very inconsistent and at 21 years of age that might be expected, but I don't believe he's the profile of fullback that Arsenal need going into the future. But what about Albert Sambi Lokonga on loan at Crystal Palace, having a very decent time with Patrick Vieira? Sambi is finally playing with confidence and we are seeing a player. And even in Palace's last game where they lost against Aston Villa, Sambi had very decent numbers with a 7.2 rating, 50 touches, 36 out of 38 passes completed, 1 key pass, 2 accurate long balls and 4 out of 5 ground balls won. The key part to understand now is that Patrick Vieira is playing Sambi in a double pivot. Playing in a 4-2-3-1, he's maximising Sambi's strengths, allowed to go forward and express himself. He's playing a box-to-box role. I don't think Arsenal will sell Sambi, but maybe another loan spell away for an entire season where he can continue to gain experience may be the wisest move. But what about the future of Kieran Tierney? Sat on the Arsenal bench, his future has come in doubt. According to reports out of Newcastle, Arsenal have set a minimum price of £25 million on Tierney and will allow him to leave in the summer if the player wishes for an exit. Tierney is Newcastle's #1 left-back option. Newcastle want Kieran Tierney and it looks like the player also wants Newcastle. According to Newcastle journalist Lee Ryder, Kieran Tierney is open to move to Newcastle United this summer if Arsenal continue to keep him sidelined. Newcastle are understood to have Tierney's name put to them by representatives in a move that would spice up the battle for left-back on Tyneside. Tierney is a competitive player and he's only made 4 starts this season, but Arsenal have evolved. And that's where you have Alexander Zinchenko. His numbers against Bournemouth are absurd. 62 passes in the final third, the most out of any player in Europe's top 5 leagues on the weekend. Arsenal don't have a left back here, we have a midfielder. I can understand Tierney's desire to want to move away, and I also trust Arsenal to find the right replacement. But my concern is Newcastle, a team on the up fighting for European places with an insane amount of finances, which could mean they could be Arsenal's rivals in the long term. Why give them Kieran Tierney and help their process? It's almost like how Man City sold us Zinchenko and Jesus. They didn't see Arsenal's rivals, and now that looks like a massive mistake. Arsenal need to look at that and learn from that and make sure they don't make a similar mistake. Moving on to end comments, let's talk about Borussia Dortmund's Julian Brandt. As according to Fabrizio Romano, Arsenal have always tracked Julian Brandt as a potential target. Julian Brandt is 26 years of age, a German international, and this year has 8 goals and 4 assists for Borussia Dortmund in the Bundesliga. He's a profile that is very versatile, able to play on the left and right hand side, but also as a central attacking midfielder. He thrives in the half spaces, and this year has averaged 2.4 key passes per 90, and he has been linked to Arsenal for a very long time, dating all the way back to his Bayer Leverkusen days. With 1 year left on his contract, he strikes me as an Arsenal profile player and a bit similar to Martin Odegaard. In fact, in terms of numbers, he's not too far apart. He's also able to play out wide, but he's nowhere near as explosive as Bukayo Saka or Gabriel Martinelli, but entering the peak of his powers and potentially available. If Mikel Arteta wants him, I'm willing to back it. But now let's talk about the key area to address, the number 6 and Southampton's Romeo Lavia. According to Adrian Kajumba, Arsenal are understood to have shown interest in Lavia and are assessing their options ahead of moves to strengthen the central midfield this summer. 19 years of age and signed from Man City in the summer, Lavia has very intriguing talents. Playing as a number 6, his numbers are very decent, completing around 86% of his passes. Alongside Amadou Onana, a lot of people in Belgium see him as the next best midfielder. He's also a decent duel winner, winning around 60% of his ground duels. Southampton are fighting off relegation, but he has been one of their standout players. But according to their current manager Ruben Selles on Romeo Lavia, I will say that he's not impressed me. He has more football to offer. He needs to step up and move forward. Southampton are currently 19th in the league, so if they were to get relegated, Lavia may be available for a cheaper deal, and that might give Arsenal a massive opportunity. But what about Brighton's Moses Caicedo? In surprise news, Brighton have confirmed that Caicedo has signed a new long-term contract that runs until 2027 with an option to extend. As Fabrizio Romano confirms, it includes a significant pay rise, and Brighton turned down a £70 million offer from Arsenal last January. For someone that was desperate to leave Brighton, handed in a public transfer request. Why has he signed a brand new contract? Well, as Fabrizio Romano says, Arsenal offered Caicedo a huge salary in January, which is why Brighton have given him a new contract with a pay rise. But it won't stop top clubs being there for the midfielder in the summer. Despite being one of Brighton's standout players, Caicedo was one of Brighton's lowest earners. But Brighton have addressed that, and with his brand new contract, if the price tag was above 70 in January, expect that to be even higher in the summer. But talking of midfielders, what about West Ham's Declan Rice? According to reports in the UK, Rice is still on Chelsea's radar. However, Arsenal are doing the groundwork, and they've even even been some whispers of terms being unofficially agreed upon, or at the very least not being a problem. Arsenal are confident. It seems like Arsenal are making moves behind the scenes trying to agree a deal with Declan Rice and get the player's side sorted, but I'm not too concerned about that. The chance of working under Mikel Arteta and playing in the Champions League, I don't think Arsenal have any issues agreeing personal terms, and it looks like Arsenal might have a secret move up their sleeve. According to Sammy Mockbell, it's been pointed out to Sportmail that Jack Wilshere could influence Declan Rice to come to Arsenal, as the pair have a tight relationship from their time at West Ham. Rice would think twice on Chelsea due to the lack of Champions League. United are an option, but Arsenal are in pole position. Agent Super Jackie Wilshere, who's currently a coach at the Arsenal under-18s, is one of Declan Rice's idols. As he said a few years ago, I grew up watching Jack Wilshere putting in performances on Match of the Day and against Lionel Messi in the Champions League in 2010. Sometimes I have to pinch myself. Jack has been great for me. That relationship is very important, but I don't think it's going to be too decisive. This is more about Arsenal and West Ham agreeing a fee. Moving on to the massive injury update, and let's talk the return of our number 9 Gabriel Jesus. So many Arsenal fans are missing him. He was an important part for the first half of the season, and soon he's going to be back. Recently he gave an update on social media, posting a photo of himself in training, indicating he's not too far away, and then he was spotted behind Bukayo Saka in first team Arsenal training. It seems like he's getting closer and closer, and now Mikel Arteta has confirmed it. Gabriel Jesus is close to returning. He's not far. I don't want to give any timeline, but he's doing certain things with the team. He's not very close, but not far at all. Gabriel is feeling better every day, and the doctors are confident too. Jesus is not far away, and there's been another break in development, as here he was seen at the Emirates Stadium after Arsenal's game against Bournemouth, playing alongside the Arsenal subs in the warm down. The fact that he's playing alongside the first team is a very positive sign. A return to full training is imminent, but what about in terms of the first team? According to Kai Kayanak, Arsenal have not entirely ruled out the possibility of taking Gabriel Jesus to Lisbon for the first leg of the Europa League round of 16. That sounds exciting, but I'm not too sure about it. Jesus has been out for a very long time, and Arsenal are going to be patient. He needs to regain that match sharpness, but Jesus is competitive. He wants to return as soon as possible, and maybe for the second leg against Sporting at the Emirates. Let's keep our eye on a return. But Arsenal have a forward injury crisis. Starting off with Leandro Trossard, who was taken off against Bournemouth for the groin issue, and according to reports, Trossard is due to have further tests, but Arsenal hope that taking him off quickly on Saturday prevented significant damage to his groin. Trossard is likely to miss the game against Sporting. It seems like this is not a massive issue, but at the same time, you're never quite sure with muscular injuries. It's all about how the player responds, especially in training. But the forward crisis continues, as you also have Eddie Nketiah, who wasn't available for the game against Bournemouth, and according to Simon Collins, he's also expected to miss the game against Sporting Lisbon with the ankle injury, and he's also a doubt for Sunday's game against Fulham. Now, Nketiah has posted on social media and does say minor setback, major comeback, which indicates he's not too far away, but at the same time, no Trossard, no Nketiah, no Jesus. It all falls to Gabriel Martinelli to play as a centre forward, and against Bournemouth it wasn't his best performance, but you can definitely see he was trying and starting to adapt. The issue that Arsenal have is to maximise Martinelli. He needs rotations. In terms of goal scorers, Arsenal have plenty options. In fact, here's a video of the fully fit Arsenal first team, and after Ben White's goal against Bournemouth, every single player in this team has scored in the league this season. That of course apart from Aaron Ramsdale, but hey, you never know. What Arsenal have is two ruthless wide forwards, Bukayo Saka and Gabriel Martinelli, and this stat sums it up. In terms of the best clear-cut chance conversion rate in the Premier League this season, Bukayo Saka sits top with an 85% conversion rate, and you've also got Leandro Trossard and Gabriel Martinelli in second with 70% conversions. We might not have Erling Haaland, but Arsenal have different ways of scoring and different goal scorers. In my opinion, our main man has been Bukayo Saka, and here's an amazing stat. Bukayo Saka is now on 10 Premier League goals this season, and all of them have either been equalisers or goals that have given Arsenal the lead in games. He's Arsenal's difference maker, and now with no Trossard, Nketiah or Jesus, we're going to need him more than ever. Moving on to the other Arsenal news today, and starting off with the refereeing from the game against Bournemouth, because we have some controversial news. As Chris Wheatley points out, former referee Graham Poll has said Bournemouth's opener against Arsenal shouldn't have counted, as VAR missed the fact that Bournemouth had a few players inside the Arsenal half at the start of the match. If this had been spotted, the kickoff would have been retaken. Bournemouth of course scored straight from kickoff, and as you guys can see, there's clearly a Bournemouth player in the Arsenal half. Once again, we have seen a human error from VAR in regards to Arsenal. It's become a common theme and Arsenal fans are getting sick of it. I still believe the Arsenal defence need to take responsibility. To concede a goal in 9 seconds, it was way too easy. Refereeing to one side, Arsenal need to learn. But it doesn't just end there. As Kai Kayanak understands, the FA are looking into Arsenal celebrations after Reiss Nelson's winner against Bournemouth, after referee Chris Kavanagh reported them. The Arsenal bench on the pitch likewise the Arsenal coach as Mikel Arteta on the sidelines, it was sensational scenes. How else is a team meant to celebrate a goal in the 97th minute with the final kick of a beautiful goal, snatching the 3 points when a team is fighting for a title? It's a normal thing in football, we have seen it in the past. Jurgen Klopp running onto the pitch to high-five Alisson. The celebration police is not happy. Is there an agenda against Arsenal? But that is the video there and there, so hopefully you guys have enjoyed. If you have, don't forget to smash a like and also subscribe to the channel if you are new. If you want to follow your boy on all of his social medias, then the links are down below in the description. But that was all of today's latest Arsenal news, and the focus might be on the Premier League, but Arsenal are about to start a European adventure. Where will it go? We're gonna find out, and I will see you soon. Take care, in a bit.